Hello, hello. How's everybody doing? Hey. Hey there, Tim. How are you? Hey, Lawrence. Good to see you. Happy Friday indeed. Hey there, Sarah. How are you? Ooh. All right. Let's go ahead and jump into this. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you're tuning in from. Mexico. Awesome. That is wonderful. Hello there, Jose. Appreciate you tuning in. So yeah, doing a kind of a new thing, as you can see up in the upper right, upper right, restream. So I'm dual streaming right now. So I'm live streaming on both YouTube and LinkedIn at the same time. It's pretty awesome. So hopefully trying to drum up some additional new stuff. So grow my audience, because I think these are really fun. So yeah, let's get into it. All right, so let's see here. There we go. Look at that. Cool stuff. All right, so what are we doing? We're doing a comet chart. So within Workout Wednesday, this whole month of February, we've been doing alternative charts. So we've had the Kyle's jitter chart. We've had Lorna's. We've had jittered bar charts. So we had a couple of weeks in a row of jitters. A little bit of the jitters, right? Too much coffee. And this week, Luke Stanky is offering an alternative to the side-by-side bar chart, and I could not agree more with his sentiment about side-by-side bar charts. They are not great. They are one of my least favorites. I have such a hard time reading them and understanding them. I don't know which line to look or which bar to look at. It's hard to see patterns and trends. There's such a better way to do it, right? And as he mentioned, there are multiple ways to do alternatives to the side-by-side bar chart. But what today we're going to focus on today is the Comet chart. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to be doing that. So and just because I like mixing it up, we're going to do everything in Tableau Public. So we're not going to use desktop. We're going to use web authoring for this. So you know, they've made a lot of great strides. We'll see how far we get, how much we can get to doing all of this. I think we'll be able to do everything, but we'll see just how far we can get with it. So yeah, let's do it. All right. So the first thing, I'm doing this in Tableau Public, and you just create. It's under here, under the left. Here, we'll get out of it. I'll show you how you get to it if you've never done it. So you log into you got to log into Tableau Public, and then there's a couple ways to do it. One, you click on the blue button that says create a viz right there, or you can do it from here. So we'll create a viz, opens up the web authoring UI, drag and drop a file or upload from computer, and I will go to my Tableau repository. I will go to data sources. I will go to 20.22.4. No, not 22.4. Is that the most one? Is that the most recent one? Yeah, that is. Yeah, there we go. And we'll go to Superstore XLS. And it's going to load that up. We're going to go to the data window. So if you've never created a workbook from scratch in web authoring, it's really come a long way. I'm pretty impressed with it. So what we need to do here is bring in our orders, and we have all the same functionality. So we can do relationships, we can do joins, we can do all that. So pretty cool stuff, as you can see here. The good thing I will say about doing everything on the web is that it automatically creates your data sources, right? So that's a pretty nice thing. Or it automatically creates an extract. That's what I meant to say. Automatically creates an extract. Okay, so we're just looking at 21 and 22 sales. So while I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and add a data source filter. And I'm going to do on order date, years, 22 and 21. Click OK. We've got that. We're ready to go. It's going to create the extract. Shouldn't take too long. It's just an Excel file with only 2 years of data in it. So there we go. We're ready to go. All right. So what we need to do, we need to take a drink of coffee first, right? We got to get ready to go here. All right. So are we doing subcategory? That seems to be the default category. That seems to be the default. Yep. Subcategory. Go ahead and drop that on there. And yep, drop that on rows. Let's go ahead and make this entire view. That looks good. All right, so now what we need to do, let's go ahead and jump into the Tableau Public version of this. Oh, yeah, open a new tab. There we go. That was weird. Okay. All right. So we've got a circle. We've got 2 circles, one for 29, one for each year. So we can do that. We will do a couple different ways we can do this, right? We don't want to put year up there. What we want to do is create a calculated field. And we'll call this 2021 sales. And we'll do, let's see, we'll do if year of order date equals 2021, then return sales. 0. Let's go ahead and duplicate this and just change this to 2022 sales. Okay. And what we'll do now is we'll do measure names. Interesting. All right, 22 sales, 21 sales. Think about how to do this. Actually, you know what I could do? Let's just go down this path. That's what you got to do, right? You got to just say, this is the way that I'm going. I'm going to do this way. So we get a bar for each year of sales. You can see that I have the delineation. You can see here when I hover on accessories, you can see that the bar doesn't go all the way to the end, or the highlight doesn't go all the way to the end. So that's 1 year, that's 2 years, right? You can see it's kind of stacked on top of each other. So we're going to change our mark type to a circle. And now we have a bar for each circle. Now what we can do is we can drag what are we going to do here? We're going to change it to a circle. We're going to drag year of order date onto size. What? Okay. Why does that happen? That doesn't seem right. If I drag order date onto size of year, why does that change to 0? And then that doesn't do that. Okay. All right. Well, that's strange. Let's do this then. Let's try a different way. Let's drag subcategory there. Let's drag sales there. Change this to a circle. Fit entire view. So we have 1 bar for all the sales. Now let's go drag order date of year onto size. And there we go. So now you can see we have a size. We have a different, I don't know if you can see that. I'll try and zoom in here and you can see that. So we have really itty bitty tiny and a bigger one like that. Okay. Now, what we need to do is I'm going to duplicate this and I'm going to change one of these to a line. And then Tableau's like, what? How do you want us to look at this? So what we need to do is we need to tell Tableau, how do we want to draw these, right? How do you want me to connect the lines? And right now it's just connecting it by subcategory. So what I did is I dragged year of order date onto path, and I told Tableau, hey, Tableau, I want you to connect the dots between the years for each partition in the data. And that's it. That's all there is to it, right? So now what we can do is you can see here we've got a large end and a small end. We've got a small and a large. So now what we can do is we can do the right click on this. So there's some interesting things about web edit, right? In web edit, we don't get the ability to drag axes up, right? So if I were in desktop, I would hover on the axes and I would get the little crosshair triangle right here, and then I would drag that up. I don't have that ability, which is okay. So the other way that we can do this is right click on the pill, and click on dual axis. We will synchronize always. I don't know why after all these years, synchronize axes is not the default. It should be. Right? Right? How many times have you ever made a dual axis chart where you've not specifically needed to synchronize the axes? Very, very small amount. I can't remember ever. If you do, drop a comment. If you've ever done a dual axis with unsynchronized axes, drop a comment right now and let me know your use case for an unsynchronized dual axis. All right. There we go. Sam Parsons agrees. He's with me. Thanks, Sam. Okay, so now what we're doing is we need to have, essentially what we need to do here is we're almost there. We are very close, right? We've got that, right? What we need to do now is we need to essentially figure out which one is, so we basically need to take the variance, right? So we need to do sum 2022. Okay, sales. All right, so there's Lawrence. So he says the only use case was the same measure, but I always sync no matter what. Exactly. You always sync by default. You're like, oh yeah, I got to sync. It should be default synced. Let's see here. Sales, 2022 sales. Let's see. Multiple different ways we can do this. I think I'm going to do, I'm just gonna do less than sales. Sum this 2021. Okay. So for those of you who might be a little bit newer to Tableau, the reason that I'm wrapping these in a sum is because I need to do an aggregate calculation, right? Because the way that our data is structured, right? So we have one row per date, right? So if we don't have these two formulas wrapped in a sum, what happens is that is a row level calculation. So Tableau literally looks in the data at a single row and says, is 2021 sales greater than 2022 sales for each row? Because the way that our data is stacked, we have a null row and a value row. So that means we have to aggregate all of 2022 sales and all of 21 sales so that we get an aggregate. Basically, we're telling Tableau aggregate before you do the operation, right? So just that was one thing that always kind of tripped me up whenever I was first learning Tableau is, do I need to do a row level calculation or do I need to do an aggregate calculation? So figuring out this will always, it'll help you. So we're going to do, this is going to be this is our color. What this is going to result in is a Boolean calculation, true or false, right? If it's true, that means that our 2022 sales are less than our 21 sales. And false means that the 2022 sales are larger than 2021 sales. And by doing that, I can go to my line chart and just drop this onto color. And I get okay. I get the dual thing here. That's not what I want. So do we need to do because I want it for each I mean, obviously 21. So let's do it this way. Let's change this up. So we're going to do this. So we're going to subtract, right? And if we do that, we get some weird stuff here, but we'll aggregate this. Color, continuous, which again, we get this weird thing. So what we need to do is we need to aggregate this by subcategory. So in order to do that, we need to do the window sum of the sum of 2022 sales, window sum of 2021 sales. And then we need to set our scope and direction. And it's still not doing it. Why is that? Because I'm still getting two colors here, right? Okay, so let me consult this. So we have subcategory, cancel. Let's do subcategory. Let's do sales on text, and let's do order date. Right, and then we have 2021 sales, 2022 sales. And then we have this color. Tableau automatic tried to make this a discrete. Let's drop this here. Drop measure names up here. And you can see here that, okay, so then we'll have to do this by, no, that's not doing it that way. We want, okay, so there's that. And then we have, that's negative. And yeah, so we don't want that. We want it this way. All right, it makes sense that sum of 2022 sales is, each of these are null, right? That makes sense because it's just that. But this, so then I need to go back here, do this, edit table calculation every year, restarting every subcategory. There we go. Okay, so now we have one color. We have one color on each bar, right? Now, what it's showing here is this. We're going to change this. We're going to change this up as we go, right? So we have color, right? So this is just I'm actually going to rename this to variance. And then what I'm going to do is now I just need to figure out if this is positive or negative. I don't care about the actual value. I just want the positive or negative values. So I think what I'll do now is I'll go to variance and I will create a calculated field from that. This one I'll call color. And this one's a pretty cool trick. Okay, so a little while ago I missed it. I apologize. So this comment, maybe an LOD at the subcategory level. Yes, I could have done that. I could have done a level of detail. However, if we look at the requirements down here at the very bottom, if I want to do advanced, I can only use table calculations, because table calculations are not evil. Table calculations are helpful. So that's why I did that. But yes, we got there, right? We essentially did the same thing. I basically did, right? That's what we did. We did a calculation at the subcategory level. I just did it with a table calculation, right? So I did the window sum for every year and subcategory, restarting every subcategory, right? All right, so back to here. What we're going to do now is we are going to, how are we going to decide the color? Where there's this really cool function that I learned about through Workout Wednesday, through doing Workout Wednesday. And it's super simple. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you use it. It's just the sign function. Sign as in SIGN, not sign as in the geometric function. It's just sign. So what it's going to do is it's going to just return +1, 0, -1. That's all it's going to return, those three values. So it's like it's not a Boolean, right? Because it's not two values, it's actually three values. And it just returns the sign of whatever you're calculating here. So we'll click OK. We'll remove variance from color, and we will drop this new calculation onto color. And we'll change it to discrete. And the other thing we have to do is we have to set our scope and direction. Because we're using a table calculation, we have to set our scope and direction again. So we do subcategory by year, restarting every year. And now you can see we have orange is positive numbers, blue is negative numbers. We're going to edit our colors of the line, right? So we have the -1 is kind of this, or no, it's the red, right? We have red, and then this positive is kind of this gray color. And there we go, right? Just like that. Let's go ahead and do some cleanup here while we're here. We're going to not show the header. We're going to not show the labels. We're going to format the worksheet. Let's see what options we have here. Lines. What do we have? Grid lines and zero lines. That's it. Okay. But I want to get rid of my borders. Yeah, there we go. Turn off borders. Turn off dividers. Look at that. I like that. That's actually pretty. That's a nice UI. Toggles. I'm down with that. I am totally down with that. Again, these are the kind of differences that you don't really think about if you just live in desktop all the time, right? I actually like the toggle buttons. And if you want them on, then you just change whatever you want. So don't be afraid to use web editing every once in a while. And I know that with every single release that Tableau does, they are making more and more parity between desktop and web editing or web authoring. So after every single new release, jump into Tableau Public and see what kind of new features, new formatting features. They're doing a lot of work on formatting. It's one of the biggest gap areas there are between desktop and web authoring. So I know that they're making a ton of updates there. So, all right. So what else do we need to do? We need to take out our zero lines, right? Okay. So this is interesting, right? Like we have radio buttons for dividers, but we don't have them for lines. We still have a drop down here, right? And that took that away. And then we'll get rid of all of our grid lines. Interesting. So instead of, right, so if we were in desktop, right, we have like, you click on them and then you select all rows or columns. It looks like it's kind of all here in the Now, what's interesting is you have multiple, but then it just defaults to off. So that's interesting. So if I select all off, then it actually turns it off. So that's interesting. Okay, what's next? Let's see. Oh yeah, the other thing it said is match the, okay, so the next thing we need to do is we need to do, what did he say? Match the size of the comet around the circle. Okay. So, and then we also need to format the circles. So we have white circles for, we have white circles. So we'll do white circles. So I selected white, but as you can see, it's not there, right? It's not there. Why is that? Well, we just need to switch our, let's just switch these around. There we go. Now we just need to unhide this header here, which shows off, which hides both headers. There we go. All right, so now we'll go ahead and bump up the size of this a little bit until we get up to, but isn't that also like, hold on, because that's also, okay, because as you can see here, I don't know how well you can see it, but whenever I increase the size of this, I'm increasing the size of both the dot and the comet. And the reason for that is because I have the same field on size for both of these, right? And I need size. Let's see, do I need, yeah, I need size because it's going from, right, because that's what makes the comet. And I need size because that's what makes it here. But I think there's a way that I can get around this, is to create a custom date field. Ooh, look, custom dates are not in web authoring. That's interesting. So there's a gap, but that's okay. We can still create a custom date. We just don't have that that initial dialog box. That's okay. We'll just call this years, and it's just the year of order date. So I'm just extracting the date part of year for this calculation. It's going to try and do it that. I'll make it a dimension, but I do want it to be, I make it a dimension because I don't want to aggregate, but I need it to be continuous. So now on my size for this, I'll just drag and I'll replace years with that. So now you can see here, we have the year of order date on the size of the line, and we have this date part of year on the size of the bubbles. So now I can size the two independently. And I think what I'll do is I will, let's see, increase. So now whenever I go to my size of my line chart and I increase that, there, you see how that's different? You see how I'm able to do that independently now? So now I can actually get the comments on there, which is good. All right. I think that should do it. The next thing that we need to figure out is the sort, which is 2021 sales. Sort subcategory. Descending by field 2022 sales. And let's just make sure this is right. And then what we'll do is we'll take 2022 sales and we will drop it. I'm going to drop 2022 sales. Actually, I don't think I need to do that. Show mark labels. That's going to show me all of them. Mark labels to show. line ends only show the end. Right? So let's see, what does that do? Yep. So there you go. Right? So I don't have to do any crazy label calculations. I'm just using the UI that's available to us. Right? So we have all of our numbers that line up here. Next thing we need to do is in the tooltip, is only, yeah, okay, that's working. So if we go back here, 2021, okay, what do we have on the line here? Okay, well, I don't need to show that in the tooltip. And so we have that, and yeah, I think that's right. Cool. Oh, we need row dividers. That's what we do need row dividers. So we'll go back here and we'll do row dividers. So we get that, right? And let's see. Yep. But I'm going to turn it on all the way. Just like that. Okay. And that gives us our row dividers. Let's see, what else? What other kinds of formatting things do we need to do here? Okay, the next thing is, because we are showing the values, we don't need the header. So we'll go ahead and uncheck to show the header. And I believe that's it, right? So let's clean up here. And I think that should be good. Maybe we'll add on our circles, we'll add a border just so we can see the, right? We'll add a border just so we can see the ends. Okay. And I can see that I need to edit the sizes. Oh, that's interesting. So you don't have, so if you see that, you don't have the ability, again, in web authoring, this is just another quirk, right? It's good to know what's out there, what the differences are, right? I can change the mark size, but I don't have the ability to independently edit the sizes through the legend, right? On any of them, I don't think. Nope. I can format, but that just formats the text. Yeah, so I don't have the ability to do that, which is interesting. So if I were to really make this one-to-one, I would save this, open it up in Tableau Desktop or Tableau Public, and then I would independently change the size for the 2021 dots to be super small. That would match what we have here. And then I would add, as you can see here, it looks like they have maybe a tiny little, maybe a tiny border. I can't tell, but maybe not. Either way, you get the gist of it, right? All right. So let's go ahead and create our dashboard. We have an 800 by 700 dashboard. There we go. One more. There we go. And we'll do our dashboard title. So here's a cool thing. I don't know if you know that, again, thinking about the differences, positives, pros and cons of web authoring. There's an interesting button on this UI that is not in desktop. Can anyone see what it is, or do they know what it is? I'll call this. Let's see what he calls this. Can you build a comment chart? All right. So let's do wow 2023 week 8. Right? Is that what we're at? Yes, week 8. Can you build a comment chart? Anybody know what it is? Anybody see it? What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this. I'm going to copy this URL. I'm going to go back to web authoring. I'm going to highlight this. I'm going to highlight week 8, and look at that button right there. I'm going to input that. And look at that. I have embedded URL links in text boxes in web authoring. That's pretty cool. That's pretty awesome. We don't have that in desktop. So, like I said, pros and cons, good and bad. You never know. You might be using web authoring more and more. Drop that in. Looks like he has. Yep. So we'll do that. We'll put that right there. Get rid of all the rest. And there we have it. There it is. So hopefully you enjoyed that. Hopefully that was good. Let's see here. Yep. Cool. Anything else? Let's look. Let's look at, see if there's anything else that we need to do. I don't think so. I think that's it. So there we go. There it is. So pretty nice, pretty straightforward. Hopefully you enjoyed that. And nice little quick one. So thanks so much. Appreciate it. Have a wonderful weekend. Take care of yourselves. We'll talk to you later. Go forth and viz.